good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and wherever you are. Please type your name here on the chat if you are hearing us, watching us, and tell us also from where you are. And well, welcome to the another session of Out of the Box Developer. We are today we're gonna talk a little bit about programming languages rankings. So we are discussing in the backstages about uh, how those rankings are can help us or does matter for our career. And yeah, there are many plenty of rankings. If you see today, we have Redmonk and Stack Overflow and many other surveys available on the internet. And I believe that will be interesting conversation today to have with our some professionals in our industry. And today we have some a new guest here with us. So I want to call first him. He is a community manager. He is the owner of the Java Journey channel, and yeah, and he's a friend of mine here from Brazil. So I want to say hello to Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel, how are you, man?
Hi guys, I am doing good, and I am very happy with this and participate this conversation with big names in the market. And my recommendation: get your coffee and sit in your PC or laptop and watch it because we have a great discussion today about programming languages rankings, and it's very cool.
Great.
Thanks you to invite me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Gabriel. It will be awesome. And of course, I want to call also my good friend that is always with us, helping on this with these sessions. He's the Java champion. He is a specialist on AI topic and a consultant also. So I want to welcome Mani Sarkar. Hey, Mani, how are you?
Hey, Hugo. Hey, Gabriel. I'm great. Thank you for having me over, and it's great to be on another session here. I'm doing good, yeah. And I'm not such a big name as Gabriel was saying. Big names. I mean, Bruno is a big name. Hugo is becoming a big name.
No,
I'm just an
no.
ordinary
Many
chap.
it's a big name. Bruno, Hugo,
I
it's
show up with
all
big
persons
names.
here.
I only show up
It's
with
a
big
big
names.
name.
I'm not a big name.
Oh man, you're a Java champion already. So yeah, you're being humble too much.
Long way to go. I just started my journey recently. That's what I'll say. Long way to go.
Great.
So
And I want to call the another person that will be with us today. And Mani already told called his name. And it's always welcome to have our Java champion here, and also to these days also we got a prize. He got a prize of Java community. So that's a great achievement. So I want to say hello to Bruno Souza. Hey, Bruno, how are you,
Hey,
man?
hello, Hugo. So good to be here with you, right? So it's awesome to be part of this project here. The Out of the Box developer, such a great conversation. And hey, Manny, it's awesome. Manny's talking about being a great person or great names or whatever. I think that's the most important thing is having great conversation, right? So I think that's one of the things that we are able to do here at the Out of the Box developer is having great conversation, not only among us, but with you also that was watching us here. I think that's so great. And Gabriel, welcome here to the team, man. It's good to be here with you. Um, that's the whole point of us here is having conversation, right? Because honestly, guys, we don't know everything, right? We keep talking all great names or prize or whatever. Right? That's all. We don't know everything, and the more we're able to have good conversation with other people, right? The more perspective we have on things, the more we know about things that we don't know, the more we learn things. And so I think that's so great. That's one of the reasons why I travel so much, right? I love to travel. So right now I'm here in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia, where we're running the developers conference in Spanish, right? And so it has been an awesome journey. I'm not a Spanish speaking person, so I'm learning a lot with everyone here. We're having so many conversations. We actually visit some amazing amazing museum from Botero. There's a famous artist here from Colombia, and it was I'm learning so much. And I think that the best way for us to learn is to have conversation, right? So that's what I love most about the out of the box developer, because we're trying to think out of the box here, right, Money? And the best way for us to think out of the box is having conversations and making mistakes and trying things out with each one of us. So thanks, guys, for having me here. It's lovely.
Great. Thanks, Bruno. Thanks for joining. And I want to
for coming to this channel and saying lots of good words. And I was actually going to say that you're known by the company you keep. So it's not you that is known. You're known by the company you keep, the people who are around you. So you're known by the people who are around. Hence, I was saying earlier, I'm not a big name, but I'm sometimes hang around big names. So
Right.
So maybe that's why I get known, but I'm not a big name. I'm just nobody remembers me, nobody knows me, but everybody knows Bruno, simply because before we need to mention this. I don't know how many of you have been following, but this year Java won. Somebody got a lifetime achievement award. It's a Java Community Lifetime Achievement Award. Bruno, can you tell us who this person is? You were there at Java 1, right? Did you get to shake hands with this person? Come on, you shouldn't have missed the chance. Okay, it is Bruno himself who has got the Java Community Lifetime Achievement Award. 25 plus years of relentless community work by and Bruno hasn't stopped. Now he's gone all the way to Colombia. He's done 25 years in Brazil and the rest of the world. Now he's moved to Colombia. The rest of South America for the next 25 years. I don't know.
Like it's more old than my age. Like I have 23 years and more activity. It's activity is more old in my person.
Yeah. So I think we deserve a big applause for that, because we haven't met since he got the award. So I'm going to clap from my end. So I would suggest everybody in the community, please send out a tweet or a LinkedIn message or an Instagram, whatever you call it, message or tweet or a post, and give a little bit of an applause or a big applause to Bruno, because it is a great achievement. And it's not that for this award, he's been doing this for 25 years. He's just been working on this without looking for anything, right? The award just came, automatically landed on his lap, but he deserved that award even way before he started, way before he was given the award. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength, and this journey is not easy. We were talking about this in private conversations about the pitfalls of also of this journey, which we won't bring in this conversation here. So we only hear and see about the good things and the positive things, but there are also thorns on the road, on the way to that, and we have to sometimes step on those and and work our way around it as well. So great work, Bruno, and it's pride for all of us, not just on this session today, but all the community members who are associated with you, to be to look at you as a role model, because how many people get this award? 25 years relentless work. It's like a silver jubilee award.
Thank you. Well, thanks a lot, Money. Actually, I'm just going to answer your last question, right? Because that award was just created by Oracle. So I'm the first person that gets this award. So right now, I'm the only person that got this award, right? So it's very humbling, to hear speaking, Money, because this is I don't think that's an award for me, right? It's an award for all the people that have been doing a lot of work around the community. I'm one of them, right? I'm very honored and very humble by the fact that so many people look at me as an inspiration and actually follow my steps or things like this. But at the same time, I'm following all your guys' steps too, right? So I think that, again, that goes back, Money, to the whole this thing about having a conversation, right? Because I think that this is the most important thing. We learn from each other. We're doing great things because we're doing things together. And so I thank you all of you for being here, right, on this journey to really build a better community, really build better software around the world, to really help each other. Because I think that the reason why we do all of these is because we all have problems, we all have difficulties, we all have challenges. But if we try to do things alone, if we try to just think on our head, right? So if we don't talk, if we don't communicate, if we don't ask for help, if we don't help others, then there's no way we can solve the challenge, the big challenge that we have around software development. So I think that's the community. A lot of people ask me, but Bruno, how can you spend so much time on communities? Are you wasting time on community? Oh, I'm not making money on community. So how can you do this kind of thing? And in reality, community is being better as a better, if you're not being part of the community, if you're not working with the community, you're not being a better developer, right? Because there's no way you can do all those things alone, right? You got to talk with other people. You got to learn from others. You got to talk to others and make mistakes, right? So they can correct you, so you can be better. So I think that the whole community building effort that all of us here are doing, the whole community effort, it's fundamental for all of us to face the biggest challenge that we have. Because I tell you guys one thing: if you think that the biggest challenge of software development already passed us, they're not. The biggest challenge of software development are ahead of us, right? There's going to be a lot of things going on, a lot of crazy things coming on in the future. And if we are not ready to face those challenges, who will, right? So that's why I think community is so important, because we can all face those challenges together. So thanks a lot, Manny, for the recognition there. It was awesome.
Amazing.
Cool. So
great.
should we get started? Hugo, sorry I interrupted you earlier, but should we get started with our session? Whatever.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You want to kick it off? Yeah.
Let me just do a shootout really quick here to Max, right? So Max is here on the chat, right? Hello, everyone. It's awesome to see you all. Thanks a lot, Max. Everyone else, if you want to say hello on the chat, we're here looking at you, right? So we can do that. Not only that, right? Max is streaming this conversation here on his channel. So thanks a lot, Max, for doing this with us. Also, let me thank here, Gabriel, right? Because Gabriel is also streaming this on his channel, the Java Journey. So thanks a lot, Gabriel, for spreading this message. Thanks everyone for being here with us.
Yes. Hello, Max. And well, just jumping to the discussion today. It is about all those surveys that we have about programming languages and their rankings and all about that. Because last session we talked a lot about soft skills and how we can actually practice soft skills, and now we are bringing something more related to hard skills and some surveys or some numbers that can also help us on our career. So one thing that I want to discuss, I want to just start here is about the those programming language rankings, and I see that Redmonk is a very known survey here that brings tracks a lot of languages and their popularity and how it's moving up and down. What is the thoughts about those kind of surveys? Do you think that there is something that we can learn from them, from this kind of reports?
So can anyone start? Look, first of all, you asked such a generic question, right? So let me answer generically here. So first of all, I love those surveys. I love surveys. I love those rankings. I love those things, not because they paint the whole picture or the full picture or anything like that, but because they give you insights on what's going on, right? And I think that you should take a look at them, and you should care about them, but you should analyze them to see why they're important. Depends a lot on what kind of things you're looking for, right? You shouldn't really approach those surveys or approach those rankings with with the idea, which is the best programming language, because that's not what they say, right? you should approach it in a way to see the big picture, right? To see what's going on in the market, to see if you are going the right direction in your project, for example, right? If there are things that you should be looking that maybe you're not looking. So, for example, if you get some of those surveys and you list the top, the top programming language, for example, right? They can be popularity, they can be number of projects, they can be, whatever. They can be people voting, whatever it is, right? So it doesn't matter which language is first, right? What probably matters is what are the 10 languages you should be aware of, right? What are the 10 languages you should be looking for? What are the 10 languages that you know that you should have some experience with? And so because I think, and many times you're going to look at the list, you're going to see, oh, I don't know that language here, or I never heard of that, right? And maybe you can go forward and say, take a look. Okay, so what are the 50 languages there are in the survey, right? And then, is there any of those languages that I have no experience with, that I never heard, I didn't even know they existed, right? So all those things are things that you should use to help you decide where you're gonna go, what are the next steps that you want to do. Is there something interesting thing that you could be learning that you don't know, right? So that's why I love those surveys, because it gives us some insights on what's going on.
Actually, that's a very sorry. Go on, Gabriel. Yeah.
Oh, all right. About the ranking, in my opinion, right? It's no. I prefer show the ranking for beginners, because then have idea how language is very hot in the market to start to learn. One example, it's I create in my mind now. I don't have a graphic here, but Java is the best language program, and the beginner. And if I study Java, I get a new job and I enter in the market, and I have a direction, because I see a lot of young people enter the market. It's very lost, and with very a lot of doubles in the mind, like, oh, what language I did study. How I start with Python, I start with Java, I will start with JavaScript. And I like the rankings because it's a given direction for start. And go ahead, Mani. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You made a good point there. So actually, it's very interesting what you said. It's good for a beginner to look at this, but once you are stable and mature in the industry, this is extra additional information, but it's not necessary you need to make decisions from them. But also, Bruno makes a good point. Look at those top 10 languages. Don't look at so and so is number one, and okay, I'm doing the right thing, or so and so is not number one, I got to learn that. But look at the top 10 languages and see, do you know how many of those you know? And the other thing to know, and because I do some work with data and machine learning since some time, is all of this is data points. These are data points that are summarized and they're put in some sort of a list and they're sorted, right? So we got to understand, firstly, what is the source of the data? How are they summarizing and crunching the data to create a big picture? And what is the method of sorting? Okay, so for example, the TIOB index, which I will share just now, that is using a whole different way of gathering the popularity of languages as opposed to the RedBonk index. And if you look at the description, the TIOB index says over here, the TIOB programming community index is an indicator of the popularity of programming languages. The index is updated once a month. The ratings are based on number of skilled engineers worldwide, courses, third-party vendors. Then it says popular search engines such as Google, Bing, Yahoo, Wikipedia, Amazon, YouTube, and Baidu are used to calculate the ratings. It is important to note that TIOB index is not about the best programming language or the language which most lines of code have been written. This is very much close to what Bruno has been trying to mention, and what Gabriel also has indirectly indicated. These indices are not saying this is the best language out there. These indices are just telling an outcome of an observation. The observation is how many engineers, how many skilled engineers, and where. Of course, they haven't written in detail, but maybe we can investigate and find out how did they take all of their data and compute the index, right?
Mhm.
Which is a single number for each language, right? They could have used a system that may not be intuitive, but they could have used a system which is using well-informed decisions, right? So that's something to take in mind. And is that how the industry is evolving? No, they're just looking at chaos, and they are mapping chaos onto a more unchaotic or systematic standardized way, right? Am I right in saying this, or am I totally wrong in saying this? Everything is
No, you're
happening
right.
around us is chaos, right? Including the ways the languages are moving in different directions, and they are trying to map chaos into something systematic, and they're showing us a list and an index.
Right. So yes, I think that's. Let me see if I can see. There's a. Um, all right. So basically, I think you're totally right, Manny. I think that this for every index has their purpose, right? And I think that this is the thing that we have to think about when you're analyzing the index, right? You have to understand what's its purpose. So you mentioned Tiobe there, Manny, and Tiobe is a search engine index, right? Basically, they search multiple search engines, mostly Google, but others too, and they search for the programming language. And so I mean, you can take a look at their search, their search query, right? They publish their search query, and so when you have that search, it search on the engines and then give a rank of how many results you have, right? So that is definitely Tiobe is a popularity index, right? But there's some other indexes that are interesting. So the IEEE has an index that is more like developers talking about it, right? You have, I think, Money sorry, Hugo already mentioned some other index. You have some companies are doing like research that ask developers to say things about it. So all those things are good, are great ways for us to take a look, take a snapshot, right? So there's a couple of things that I like to talk about, Money, when you're looking at programming language. There's three metrics that I like to look at. One is the Tiobe index, right? Because the Tiobe index indicates the popularity. And popularity is important, right? Because, it means how many documentation exists, how many projects exist, right? So, so popularity is an important metric. So I like that Tiobe because of that, right? If you see that a language is very popular, it does means that we can, that you go into that direction, you're going to find community, you're going to find support, you're going to find other developers using it. What I think that's positive. The other thing I like to look at are numbers of jobs in the market, right?
Yeah.
Because those because you want a job at some point, right? So I'm not saying that a language that has a small amount of jobs is not important. Maybe it's an amazing, because you might be one of those very few people that can get that job. Well, it's amazing. I think there's lots of opportunity in that too. But especially when you're beginning, especially when you've been in your career for a long time, having a wealth of opportunities in the market is something that's helpful for you. And the third thing I like to look at, Money, is real world projects. I mean, so GitHub projects, open source projects, things that what people are using for real open source projects out there, right? And because that gives you an idea of what libraries you can rely on, what code can you learn from, what other developers can you learn, can you go meet and talk to, right? So so that is very important for me. So I think that looking at those three things in different surveys and different things can give you some ideas of what are the things you should be looking at, what are the things you should be looking for your future.
I think that's really spot on, because I believe in the 80-20 rule. I think, Bruno, you're familiar with the Pareto principle, and I'm hoping the others are as well. And the three things you mentioned are actually doing the 80-20 rule very clearly. And if you look at the two indices we shared, the Tiobe and I'm going to share the red monk one as well. That if both those indices are actually covering those two angles that you just talked about, and maybe they're covering more angles than the ones we are talking in this chat. But like the sum of those two, the angles that they're covering, makes up more or less the story of the industry, right? I mean, of course, there'll always be an angle we missed out, and then we'll find later on. But we can more or less say so and so technology, so and so language is popular, or at least these top 10. And this is the margin of error in our assumption, right? Because they
Right.
are covering all the angles where these languages are getting exposed, or are being touch points, right? The touch points are engineers, search engines, GitHub repositories, Stack Overflow, you name a bunch of them. These are most popularly and likely used by those skilled engineers or people looking for answers for problems in that technology space, right? So, which means the more people are looking for those things, that means the more vibrant that technology or the subset of that technology is. Hence, we can say there's liveliness in that technology. And Bruno, that's a great point about the niche technology. Like, for example, I know Smalltalk developers were in big demand at least 10 years ago. I don't know about now. And now it's more like Delphi developers that are in big demand, and COBOL developers are still in big demand, uh, and 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 there are other languages that have not stopped being popular. So basically, knowing any language can get you somewhere in this industry, because there is some piece of software, some project always running somewhere in this industry where they need that technology, where that people from that technology, because there are less and less of those people in that technology suddenly.
Mhm. Perfect, man. That's awesome. What do you think, Hugo? Trying to ball at you, man. Just kind of
Yes.
put you in the fire.
Yeah, but you talk a lot of things here, and one very common question that I get when people are starting or they are stagnating into some job is that, oh, what should I look for? And they usually think about those rankings and try to figure out the best language for them. But I believe that you all said some very important thing, that we can drive our decisions just looking for those rankings. Those will be that is a way to see, to help us see the big picture, to help us see what is hot to. But we have to understand also what kind of problem that we'll be trying to solve, like Manny said, and in many other things that we have. If you are a web developer, so probably you will want to know some very known or used technologies or language like JavaScript, Java on backend, or C Sharp, or any others. And if you are and you want to move to some machine learning problems that you want to solve, so
Mhm.
probably Python will be a very welcome, but also have Julia and many others that is rising now. So I think when we see that way, it's very helpful. Uh, but in other side, I also see that some sometimes people do do how can I say, do they they give too less value to those rankings, like, oh, those rankings say nothing, I shouldn't be looking for them. But uh, I see that they have this value, like it's like any other research or report about some current status. It's great to help us make better decision about what languages that we will be that is actually used in the market. And for me, also as an manager and sometimes architect of some solutions, we have to understand what is actually driving our market, because it affects a lot on our decision that will be on a long run decisions. But my team that has more than 80 people, what kind of language that we should pick here for our solution? It is a much bigger impact than when we think about our own projects for our own use, or or any other smaller things. So when you are in an enterprise context, it's also a great source to be looking for.
Yeah, I think
And
that's a very good point you guys made over there, because on one hand, these surveys and the results of these surveys create these rankings, and as Bruno mentioned, they are actually looking at this from various angles that are touch points for these technologies and the people using these technologies. But at the same time, you cannot hold these rankings as the holy grail, right? Because you could, first of all, they may not be fully relevant to your enterprise, like you were saying, to your problems that you're trying to solve, to your requirements. Because when you choose a technology, you got to look at it from so many angles, right? You got to look at it from, do we have people in our team who know this? Do we have people in our team who know something close to this? Is it easy for our team to learn and maintain this technology? Can we find more people in the outside world, or in the communities in the outside world that use this, so that in future, if you want to expand or we need support on something that we're stuck on, then what do we do? So there are so many decisions. There's a multi-dimensional problem question to answer when we try to select one or more technologies, and it is getting more and more complicated, which reminds me of what Bruno said earlier. We haven't really faced the challenges. There are challenges to come that we need to face. Maybe Bruno has a crystal ball, or he has got like insider information from the big wigs he's hanging around with. They're telling Bruno, "Hey, Bruno, they haven't seen. We're going to release the next thing, and then you'll see them." So, and it's just a joke. But I'm saying
That's
is that,
yeah, but
yeah,
that's a very good point, Money. And no one of us have a crystal ball, right? But since you're talking about programming language here, all programming language today, right, are being developed and growing and improving as open source project, right? So the magic here, the magic ball, right, the crystal ball is looking at what people are doing, right? I think that's
yeah,
the magic ball, because all those languages
absolutely,
are improving in the open, and this is such an amazing thing, right? Because it's not. Look, guys, I'm not sure about Money, but we are here from Brazil many years ago. Money, we had this problem that we, technology would take a long time to arrive here, right? So we're always behind, right? So we're a few years behind the rest of the world sometimes, right? And so today this doesn't exist anymore. No matter where you are in the world, right? You are right at the bleeding edge of anything that you want in terms of software development, because things are being done in the open, things are being done visibly, so you can be part of that, right? You can participate on the top projects. So there's no crystal ball, man. but
yeah.
but yes, but you are right. There's no crystal ball, but the people that you connect with, right, that's important, because by talking to other people, again, by having conversations, that's where you see where the future is going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to that point, I mean, I was just making a joke of the crystal ball, but you rightly actually pointed me to the crystal ball. The reflection that we see in the well, we say media, or you can say the social media streams, or the newsletters, the conferences, or the people who speak about these topics, they themselves reflect small bits and pieces. And if you put all the picture together, the pieces together, you can form a bigger picture of the real thing that's going on in the industry and in the market. But then going back to that, if what Hugo was talking about is that he has responsibilities in his team to make the right decisions, and sometimes, from what I hear from what he's saying, is I understand that he's saying sometimes I may have to ignore that list and not take it literally. I may take some ideas from it, but I'm not taking that list as a holy grail, because my team is more important here. My company is more important here. We are small and niche, and we cannot be taking the big risks like a big enterprise can be taking, right? An enterprise can bet on various different technologies and solutions, and have various small teams working on them, and then use the survival of the fittest, and then move to that technology and regroup much quicker, and they have the financial backing to do that, as opposed to small companies, or even individuals or groups or small communities, right? So we have to strike a balance between practicality, reality, and big picture, and what is achievable for us and what is not achievable for us, right? So these lists always are guidelines. They are never holy grail. Look at them, but take them with a pinch of salt and use them for your own. Use your own what do you call it? Your own discretion to
Judgment.
choose the right solutions. Yeah, judgment and discretion to use the
Yeah.
right solutions.
Yeah. So Aja Milton, right, is saying here that that it's good to have a direction, right? I used to know new programming language. That I love that, Jamilton,
Absolutely.
because this is awesome, right? That you use this to know things that are going on, to know what are the things you're missing, right? Or the things that, because every new programming language, guys, shows on those indexes, right? Show all the way down the bottom, right? It's just something new that they add, and then suddenly, lots of times it grows and becomes important, or maybe not, right? But still, you have an idea of things that are coming. That's awesome. All right.
And
Absolutely.
and yeah, and not just to learn ourselves learn a new language, but also to attract people. If we see those languages that are getting a lot of popularity, and you are driving your company decisions to use some languages, that gives you a clue about which community is getting more traction and and being more widely used. So I think that's a good point about how to attract developers, because uh, the language itself is not, it won't give you the popularity that it needs. It's the whole environment that is allows you to have a good development experience, right? So it's not just the language itself that have to be performatic, or have to be expressive, and so on. You need a lot of tools around the language, so it can also give you a great experience of development.
Okay, guys. There's one quick thing that I want to say here. I don't want to interrupt the discussion, but I will interrupt for a minute, because I have a guest here with me. He was the host of the developers conference here in Spanish, and we need to leave in about 2 minutes, right? Because it's going to be the ending of the event. I have to be there, right? So I'm just going to bring here. Come on, Oliver, sit down with me here. So this is
Oh,
Oliver. Oliver is a developer from Guatemala, right? So he's been the host here at the TDC event, right? So Oliver, how are you liking having a community event here in Colombia, and you were able to come from Guatemala here to do this?
Yeah, first of all, hi everyone. It's nice to be here. Nice to meet you all. And it was a great experience being the host and speaking with a lot of people and all the energy that the event has, and that's amazing. That's amazing. So I had an amazing time.
That's good, man. So I want to bring Oliver here sometime in the future, right? Because Oliver is not only a community manager, but he's also, he had this great experience of being a developer and being hosting the event here. He's trying to connect a lot of communities here in Latin America, and so he might bring us some, some perspective that we want in this group here, right? So, do you guys want to ask anything here about the event or something like this, Money or Gabriel, Hugo? So Oliver can tell us a little things here.
Yeah, so I'm curious. So has TDC now branched out of Brazil and now run these conferences in Colombia
Yeah, it
and
was
run them in
amazing.
English and Spanish, or just Spanish?
Yeah, just the all the tracks was in Spanish, all the content is in Spanish, but it was amazing. I think that this first event captured like a lot of attention, but we can grow up in the time.
So
Yeah.
it is a TDC event, because Bruno, you said it was a TDC event, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a the developers conference in Espanol, right? It's
Ah,
TDC,
okay.
right? So yeah,
And that's supported by the same TDC that I know of from Brazil. Is that right? Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
TDC
So
now has a Colombia, when you, what do you call it, a branch,
that's it.
or a franchise. Okay, that's
yeah,
great.
we're calling more Latin America or Spanish, Spanish speaking,
Mhm.
because we had this great here, money, because we had so many people. We have Java leaders from groups from Peru and Venezuela and
Central America,
Central America,
Guatemala, El
Guatemala,
Salvador.
and so many. And we have people from all over Latin America. We have people from Argentina, Uruguay, all those participating here. So it was awesome, man. It was great that we have this. That's we talked about here in the beginning, money, about having conversation, how important it is, the whole out of the box developer discussion, right? Exactly, because it is allows for conversation. So being able to have these conversations in Spanish with a bunch of people that didn't participate in the event in Brazil or didn't participate in the event internationally has been such an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and all the people were so happy to have like a huge event here in Colombia. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, great. And the videos are on YouTube, or they are still on Hopkins, or what is the
Yeah, there's two on Hopping because the event's still going on, but they're all going to be made available later on. Yes.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, amazing. It's good to see TDC branching out from Brazil to other Latin American countries, and maybe you'll also come to Europe someday. And you got some roots over here, so
Right.
don't forget them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're already, in a way, right, money. I mean, you're a coordinator of TDC International, right? So in a way,
Oh wow.
doing this. So that's so thanks a lot for your help and support, man.
I didn't know I earned that title already.
You did, you participated with us in the career track. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't know that came with another title as well. So
Right. Yes.
I am sort of a virtual branch of TDC in Europe.
Exactly. All right. So guys, so Max
Absolutely.
saying hi, Oliver. It's amazing to see
Hey,
you here.
Maximilian,
Yes.
nice to see you.
Right. So guys,
So, man.
Max has a great question there. I'm gonna let you guys answer it, and I'll apologize. I'm gonna have to leave, but the event's ending right there, and I have the host of the event here with me, so we gotta go there. But I'm also hosting with him, so we gotta leave. So thanks. It was amazing to have this discussion with you. Thanks, Hugo. Thanks, Gabriel.
Bruno.
Thanks a lot, and for everyone who's watching this. Thanks for everyone. So see you guys.
Bye.
See you, Bruno. See you, Oliver.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Guys,
later.
bye.
So just keep continuing our discussion here, and well, Max just said here that I think there are two scenarios, at least when talk about using rankings like that. One is the people that are trying to get their first job, and the others that are trying to get a new career boosting. Yeah, good point, Max. I also agree with you that on the first job, there is a point of looking rankings because you are just starting. And I can also tell you about my it's interesting point because just remind me about my wife and other people that are just migrating their career to development, and they are asking which language should I
Switch the career, right?
switching the career. Yeah, they are switching their career. My wife, for example, she was from the health industry. She studied health industry, health area. So she studied about cancer. She is a biomedicine. She's from the biomedicine course, and she was migrating. She switched to the data science topic, and she asked me which language should I learn, and she wished to learn the most difficult one because it will be so she will be able to learn all the other languages. And I said to her, that does not work like that. So she started with moving with Python now, and she's very happy with that. But yeah, when we don't have much experience about programming at all, it is very easy to see like learning programming language like learning some prize or something that you just have to do some course, and it's all fine. Actually, it needs a lot of experience, hands-on work to actually learn and really create stuff. And yeah, it was a great surprise for her. So that's good point. Uh, and Max also bring a question here, right? What tip do you all can give to these people that is starting that are getting their first job, and the other one that is get a new career boosting?
Oh, I have a good tips too about this. The freeze and get a new job, or change, switch, the career, like learning the basic in the freeze, like learning the fundamentals of programming, like logic, and after this you can start enter more deep in. But in January, study about PU, or if else, for this is basically in our language, and after you enter it more deep into, if you want to boost your career, in my opinion, you need to see the frameworks or the technologies to specific for your objective. Like I don't know, if you max have an objective to entering the culture DevOps, oh, you need to learn about DevOps, how make the deploy integration and it is these things, like in my opinion, you start in development area learning the basic, like in fundamentals, and you need to boost your CV. You have the whole road get, and you improve your career. And I think it's working well for two types.
Yeah, I think these are fairly good points on how to and to manage this, because it's always when you're starting a career, l- lists like these ranking lists, they can be a distraction as well, because they can give
Yeah.
you this feeling of missing out. They'll feel, my goodness, so many technologies to learn, and look at these are the top 10 used technologies, and I don't know any one of them, or I know only a little bit of this, and how am I going to go about? So there is that fear and phobia that can also come out of the list. At the same time, the list can be used as a guidance to say, okay, let me systematically see which is the one that I want to learn, or need to learn, or can learn, or there's an opportunity, and then I'll pick that and I'll spend a lot of time on that. Because as Gabriel was saying, that the basics across many languages are more or less similar, with
Yes, it's
little
very similar.
differences.
Like
Yeah,
you have a structure if you're for all technologies not don't have changers.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So if the paradigm doesn't change too much, like if you're talking between imperative programming language and functional, then the logic and the flow and the keywords used are more or less the similar one. So but you don't want to complicate yourself by picking up a technology or a language that is hard. You want to start with a simple one. Hence the top 10 list is a great one to pick one from, where it really applies to you, or the technology is interesting to you, or there's a job opportunity for that technology, or you have done something similar, and then work on that one technology for quite some time. And that is for the ones who are beginners. For the ones who want to boost their careers, that list, just like Bruno was saying earlier before he left, is that list is a great one to see, okay, I know one or two of these technologies. How do I know the other eight? How relevant are they? How can I quickly know the high level of them? And you don't have to really go into deep depth of each of the languages. You need to know one language or two languages in depth, and the other languages you just try to know the superficial layers of it, and slowly try to get better at it and go in depth into it. But you don't need to go full swing depth into those languages. And for the people who want to boost their career, I have a recommendation of a book here called Seven Languages in 7 Weeks. And I have shared the link here. And I would say that uh, this is a great way to stretch your mental memory, your memory muscles on learning new languages and new technologies. There's also another book called Seven Databases in 7 Days, which also can be helpful because that will make you agile in your thinking about how. So because the book is not very big, it's like, I don't know, about 500 pages, maybe less, and it cannot cover everything about all the languages and all the technologies, right? So whatever it covers is the basic foundation good enough for you to get started and to then build up your knowledge and experience from there. So books like these are great places to start with, and in fact you should always look for the a top down approach whenever you're learning something. Yes, in the beginning you might have to go in depth into something, but once you know one thing very well, the next things you will learn to learn, I recommend apply, because there's so many things happening in the technology world. There are so many moving parts. You're going to go crazy if you're going to try to go into details of every technology that you come across. Know the basics of many of them, but know one or two of them in depth. And that's how you build your breadth and your depth. And that's your T shaped career, which is going to be good to know for both who are beginners and then who want to boost their careers. Try to find what your T shape is. What is the breadth of knowledge you have? What are the areas you need to fill in where there are gaps, and which one or two technologies or topics you want to become very good at, and then try to go deep into that. You cannot go deep into every topic of technology out there because the technologies will outbeat you in no time because they move so fast. These moving parts are really extremely hard to manage if you don't use pragmatic approaches. That's my advice to it, and I hope that helps.
Yes, a lot, and I want to share here what George Vidal wrote here. Uh, what I don't like of learning new language is that if I don't use them, eventually I will forget what I learned. And I totally agree with you, George. I'm totally with you. Uh, by taking my experience, I started my job with Java, and I'm not that guy that to pick some language to learn by myself. I learned all the language that I needed to do my job. So in the end, I started with Java, but now I have to learn Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, and Python because I had to teach my wife. So it was also part of of my job here at home.
Oh,
But
uh,
I end up with four different languages. I actually had some work to do with Ruby and Ruby also as well. But yeah, I end up with five languages just to do my day-to-day work because it needed. So the best way to learn is if you can actually apply it, and it is important to learn what you actually will actually use in some project that you are building. Yeah, Gabriel, you want to say something?
yes. I had in the past I had this problem in Georgie say like he learned a lot technology and ever forget the concept and another technology. Like I try cheers the word, but it don't work. Like in my opinion, you if you have the focus in one language and the principle, like you enter now in the market or you start to study now, get only one language. You don't need get a lot languages. You'll see the Start Flow graphic or uh, Tipon to be another site. I don't know name.
Ayobi.
Yeah,
Tayobi, you mean?
Tayobi. You don't need create. Oh my god! I need to learn all technologies. Get one, and after you learn the concept is language, you start a new language because you put all concepts in your mind. You never forget. Like you can make solutions more slowly, but you never forget this concept. One example. Um, I start with my career. I start with C, right? And now I have knowledge about C, But if I need how can I say resolve the problem with C, I resolve, but my velocity is very slow. But I never forget. And get one language in the phrase, put you focus on this language. In my case, is C. After this, learn C, you can start learning another language. Like get one phrase, then you grow. You get another language to grow.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Manny.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the same. That's the same idea that Gabriel has actually mentioned earlier as well. Is that try to get the concepts and principles of one language, and then many languages are based on that one language sometimes. But the other part of the story here is there's two streams, right? You could be learning a language out of a hobby, or you could be learning a language out of a need to upskill yourself or reskill yourself,
Oh,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
there's two, like, on a weekend I'm spending time just to do some stuff because it's hobby, and because I'm doing the hobby stuff, I'm doing it in one language, or maybe I'm doing that language out of hobby, right? So there's again two small streams in there. You could have a project that you want to work on, and you pick a language, like Hugo selected Python because he had to teach his wife, but that's not his job, and he may or may not do and apply it in his job. But the real purpose of that action there was to learn Python so you can teach his wife, right? That's because the project was teach his wife, and then the language chosen there was Python. But you could also take a hobby as, I just want to learn Python and play around with Python. I don't have a project, and I'm not going to teach anybody anything, but I'm just going to play around with it because I'm hearing about all these new cool algorithmic concepts that they have these cool collections that's not there in Java. And I'm not saying it's not there. I'm sure there's similar collections in Java, but I'm saying, oh, you could do broadcasts in Python, which you cannot do in Java, which is true, or to some extent. And I think it's being corrected now. There is some way of doing broadcast, but anyways, so if you are trying to learn a language because of those ideas, then you're in that other stream. But if you're in a stream where you're actually trying to learn a language because you want to build a career on it, you want to become better at what you're doing in the project you're working on at work, or anything related to profession, then that is going to go on for a longer time, right? So you won't forget that, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't pick up something where you're only going to work on a project for 3 months, right? And maybe you do, but that's a rare case. So you see, if there are these three streams, there is one or two streams in there where you will use less of that language or forget it because you have not used it anymore. For example, with Hugo's case, once his wife is up to speed, he may or may not need to help her with Python anymore. That means he's not going to be doing much Python going forwards after that, right? Unless I pull him into a project and I say, Hugo, we are doing a project together in Python. We have a project actually, and Hugo, your Python knowledge will come and use that. Thank you for telling me that you know Python. And so then his Python knowledge will get rekindled again, right? So you see, it's all circumstances and choices. The choice here is it a permanent long term project, work related, profession related, or is it hobby related where it's specific to the language or specific to the project, and in that project you're using the language, you see? So one of these three will last longer than the other two, and that will create your longevity of knowing that language, right? So what who was that made that comment earlier?
George Vidal.
That was George. George said that one of the things he doesn't like about learning new languages is if you don't use them, you'll forget, which is true. Even for spoken languages, there are languages if you don't speak often, and I think Hugo can vouch for that. I can say that for myself as well. I'm sure Gabriel has his own experiences. Even spoken languages, if you don't speak or write or read for a long time, you lose touch in it, right? So I don't know. I'm not going to suggest to you pick a language only if you need because of your profession, but keep this in mind. Just before you start putting effort in it, what are you going to use it for? And then accept it that I may not be using this very often, so I might forget it. So I'm not going to put too much effort in it. So then you may not have this disappointment that, oh, I've forgotten this language. I put so much time and energy in it, but now I don't use it and I've forgotten it. You see? So that's just a comment I wanted to make.
Great,
Yes.
great. Yeah, go ahead.
And oh, sorry, Hugo. You can use it the professional language and your hobby language. and how can you say, make a fusion. Like you can use in the both for how can I say, for grow your career. Like you make your hobby with C and use your professional C. Like you can make this um, together with this. And guys, I will share one book and have a good tips. And I get my focus and get my direction with this book is 100 gold lessons, and it's very good. I will share it with this.
Yeah, actually, I have the on Gabriel. Sorry, I have to introduce you that in Out of the Box Developer we have the tradition to share some book on the end of the session, and yeah, actually we are reaching the end of our session, so it's a good time to also pick our books and share here with everyone.
Sorry.
No, you're right. I think you are right on the time. So we are already reaching our 1 hour session here. So before ending the session, we want to share the books here. I see Gabriel share the Golden Lessons.
I will
Uh,
share another book, and it's very cool to beginners.
okay.
I get two books for share with the
Yeah,
project.
go ahead. There is no limit to the number of books you can share.
Yes,
Like
it
just
is.
Oh, all right.
No
And the
limit. Yeah.
second is I don't finish this book in the half hour that I don't finish this book. I help his to review this book and Java Challengers. And if you start a language, this book is very cool because you start at the basic and the basic topics and the advanced topics in Java. And for you need a focus for learning one language. This book is very good because you get a good concepts.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to put yourself in the deep end and then try to solve these problems using a language you know. So you're getting better at problem solving, but also problem solving in a language that you may or may not know that well, and so you're boosting both those skills, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Do you have any
I
other
share here.
recommendations, Hugo or
Uh,
Gabriel? If you have another one, that's also going to be great. I mean, you've already
Oh,
recommended two, which is
I
great.
finished my recommendations now.
Okay, that's great. I mean, it's now Hugo's turn, and then I'll take some turn, and then we'll round off this session.
Okay, so I will share, since we are talking about programming languages, and I was when I started working, I was very skeptic to get some book that is related to a tool. I was very concerned to learn the fundamentals and all the other things. But in the end, when you have some language of choice, it's good to have some references, and then I remember that I read the effective Java for me. Of course, this is for Java developers, but if you are not Java developers, I'm sure there is a book that wraps all the details or all the important parts of your language of choice. So I totally recommend, if you have some language of choice, pick one of those and take a look, because you end up it's very difficult to learn all the details by your own on a programmatic way. Sometimes you don't know that there is some better ways to do what you actually doing. So that's a great book for of example for me, that teaches a lot of things that I was doing in not very effective way, and then I learned some great things from Java language as well. So that's my pick for today.
Yeah, the Effective Java by Josh Block is a
Joshua,
really
yeah.
good book. I started learning it from the first version, I mean the first edition, and I found it itself quite let's say a higher level than a lot of the books that are in the market. And it is great to to pick a book like this, that means it'll help you stretch your knowledge and your skills as well, and put you in the deep end, and also tell you about things that you've never thought about that the author has thought about.
But
Cool.
I think it's not a book for beginners. Maybe it will be a very, oh my God, what the hell is this guy talking
it's
about?
more, yeah, you're right. It's more for intermediate and
Yes,
advanced level
intermediate.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah, go
So,
ahead, Manny.
since Yogo has made a share there, and I did share earlier, 7 languages in 7 weeks, and I think Yogo might have already shared that in the channel. But if you haven't,
Yeah, let me share it
then
again
then
here.
please
Yeah.
do. And I will share one more, which is 7 databases in 7 weeks, which I also had mentioned. And these are really good books for technologists like us who are not beginners, maybe to start with. And I think, and I don't want to recommend this, beginners could also take a jab at it, but I recommend this more for intermediate and advanced people, or people who've got developers and engineers who've got some years of experience to a lot of years of experience. So that way you don't feel this missing out and feeling behind or lagging behind kind of a phobia. The other book that I wanted to recommend, it's a non-technical book. It's 7 Effective Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if either of you have come across this or heard of it, but I have a copy of it, and I recommend that book, and I'm going to share the link in a second. Um, it is also a great book to have, because it is also something, habits is what shapes us, and if we develop good habits, they stay with us, they're like assets, and we can keep building upon those habits. So I shared that
Oh yeah.
link as well. So usually on our session we will have a mix of technical and non-technical books, so you balance your reading uh, tasks for the week or for the month, wherever, however you organize yourself.
Yeah, that's good point. Yeah, I know Dr. Covey, right? The 7 Habits from Highly Effective People. Yeah, that's amazing book.
Yeah, Stephen R. Covey. Is he Dr. Covey? Wow, I didn't know he had the title.
And just want to share also. I forget to share in the beginning of the session about the surveys and the ranking that we are talking about. We are actually talking about the RiotMonk language rankings and the surveys from Stack Overflow. And I think I shared the Taiobi link from Manny, but I will share here just to have it.
Yeah, you did
all
share it
wrapped up.
earlier, but if you share
Yeah,
it once again, it'll all be together in one series.
one place. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's easier to have access. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think we did it today. I believe that was great session. I just want to thank a lot the people that contributed here and participated, asking questions and sharing their thoughts. That's what give us great content here to share, also to exchange experiences and have some connection here, right? So, and also thanks a lot, thanks Manny and Gabriel for being here, joining the session, and always being contributing for great quality content.
Yeah, it's a pleasure
Okay.
to be here, Hugo. Always, and Hugo has always been making a lot of effort. Initially, he came in as a guest, and then he got promoted to be an admin, and now he's actually running the show. You see, Bruno just came in and left. He did the same thing the last time, being so busy. But Hugo is now running the show on behalf of Bruno, and it's really great to see how he has
Oh,
climbed up from
thanks.
being a guest to being a host and an admin, and he's organizing a lot of the things in the background that many of you don't know, or pretty much all of you may not know. But he's putting the agenda together, he's organizing speakers, he's inviting
Thanks.
people to come in as guests. So Hugo's doing a lot of stuff proactively, which is really it's really impressive to see how he's taken on this, taking the bull with the
Thanks,
horn.
Manny. Thanks.
Oh, guys,
So
thanks
thank you
to
for having me here, and thank you for doing all of the good work you're doing, and inviting guests like Gabriel on the show.
thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you, Money. Thank you, Hugo, for inviting me. And the interview session is very amazing. And this conversation is very, very well to me because we see and difficult in the persons in general, like beginners, intermediate, and the advanced, and share or give it to tips for them is very, very amazing. Like you share a little bit to the knowledges and this can help you a lot of people saying, oh my god, I feel lost, or I don't know for start, I don't know to start my career. And this conversation is very, very good because we can give in directions to persons. And thanks to invite me, and you can invite me to another sessions, and I
Great.
enter here with the how can say I enter here and we discussion just because it's very amazing.
Great. I hope to
Great.
see you on the future sessions as well, Gabriel. You are always welcome here.
All
So
right,
Thank
it's send me a message or send me a mail and I enter here.
great.
It's 100% enter here.
Thank
Okay.
you, Gabriel, for offering to be on our session. We always like to have guests with various viewpoints, and you brought in some really good, interesting points that you shared with the community. And you see, we receive. If you look at the chat, we have received lots of great comments, mostly from Max. But I'm sure the others who are here on the channel are also quite excited about the conversations, and they'll be sharing their comments on Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube itself. So yeah, look forward to future sessions with yourself and other speakers and our team, which keeps changing every time. But yeah, it's good to see the dynamism.
Great. So thanks
Great.
everyone. See you next. Thanks Max as well. He's right in here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Max, for keeping the conversation going and keeping the community lively.
Bye.
Bye bye,
See ya.
guys.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye bye.